Activists in South Africa and the US have silenced the last apartheid president, FW De Klerk. He was invited to participate in a series of interviews hosted by the Global Security Institute in partnership with the American Bar Association. On the agenda, rule of law, constitutional democracy, minority rights, social change, racism and global security. Lukhanyo Calata is one of the activists who wrote to the American Bar Association objecting to De Klerk's invite, and he joins us now via Skype. Lukhanyo, thanks for being with us this evening on the show. So your response to De Klerk's decision to withdraw from the interview?
Well, I mean, I think if De Klerk did in fact withdraw himself from the conversation with the American Bar Association, then he did the right thing. As far as I understand it, the Bar Association had actually cancelled the invite to Mr. De Klerk. They cancelled the conversation that he was going to have, and based on that's what they told us. So, I mean, I don't quite believe the fact that Mr. De Klerk actually withdrew. I am of the opinion that the program was cancelled, and therefore he had no choice but to obviously not take part in that conversation.
So De Klerk was invited to discuss South Africa's transition to democracy. Do you not believe that his contribution might have held some value?
What contribution would De Klerk have made at that bar association? De Klerk, when he ended apartheid, he didn't do so because he believed that it was the right thing to do. At the time, the South African economy was in tatters. The state was considered a pariah internationally. There were sanctions against our economy. So De Klerk was basically pushed into a corner, and he had no option really to do what he did. So for him to have gone on an international platform and then pretend as if he ended apartheid out of the goodness of his heart would have been a complete lie. So I don't necessarily think that Mr. De Klerk should take any stage where he talks about his role in the ending of apartheid. What I do think we would like to hear from Mr. De Klerk is what his role was when discussions were put on the table of the State Security Council and how they were planning to murder two teachers, one Fort Calata, the other Matthew Goniwe. Now, as you know, Fort Calata was my father. Yes. As far as we know, De Klerk has never said anything about his role in those meetings of the State Security Council. So if De Klerk wants to talk, he's got plenty of opportunities to tell us what he said in the meetings of the State Security Council when they were discussing the murders of Fort Calata and Matthew Goniwe.
So the FW De Klerk Foundation has been quoted as saying that the allegations that he was involved in gross human rights abuses are baseless. What's your response to that?
What do we expect the foundation to say? Are they going to admit that yes, De Klerk actually is an apartheid criminal? Yes, De Klerk participated in crimes committed against our humanity. Of course, they're going to deny that De Klerk knew anything about those things. And the only reason why they continue to be in a position to deny these claims is basically because the ANC-led government, as well as the National Prosecuting Authority, have failed to do the right thing. They have failed to prosecute apartheid criminals. They have failed to effect the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to make sure that those cases are investigated, that those cases are prosecuted. And that's the only reason why today the De Klerk Foundation can still come and deny to us that Mr. De Klerk knew anything about apartheid crimes. It's because he hasn't been prosecuted, not because he doesn't know anything. De Klerk knows, he knows a lot. De Klerk did not inherit apartheid. He was an active participant in the crimes that were committed against our humanity.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, activist Lukhanyo Calata. ENCA did invite the FW De Klerk Foundation onto the show, and they referred us to their statement on the matter, in which the foundation says Mr. De Klerk was forced to withdraw because of the vitriolic reaction from activists. It says the former president will not participate in an event which causes him or his hosts embarrassment.